biological incapability.
No, so the great thing is on a first principles basis, the biophysics indicates that this should make proteins cheaper. And that is good for the planet. It's good for human health. It's good for everything. We should be able to make eggs, cheese, milk, all this stuff exactly the same as what you get from an animal without the animal, because the biophysics of a single cell making it is better than the biophysics of a whole animal. Think about a chicken. It grows feathers, it clucks, it walks around, it has energy, it makes heat. So the chicken as a system is not that energy efficient. But a little cell that just eats sugar and it's programmed to do one thing and one thing only. Eat sugar, make protein. Eat sugar, make protein, and spit as much of it out. You theoretically can make it way more efficient. Exactly. Now, we're making great progress, but we're not there yet. We're not at commodity price point. It's a good example, a product called pepsin. It's extracted from pigs today. It's very expensive, similar to how we used to make insulin. And we're replacing the sourcing of that product. We replaced insulin, which we used to get from pig spleens. We now make it recombinantly. We're now replacing pepsin. We're replacing the rennet that's used to make cheese. So as we move down the cost curve, these what are called high value proteins are the first to fall. Those markets collapse because we now make them recombinantly. They collapse in price because they're now cheaper using recombinant systems instead of taking them from animals. And eventually we'll get to that cost curve where they're ubiquitous for all proteins or for all types of cells. In the meantime, there are pretty sizable markets to go after. These are multi-billion-dollar markets that are getting knocked down. We don't talk about it every day. It doesn't show up in the news, but it's really profound and interesting to see that this technology is working. It's overturning multi-billion-dollar markets. Florida ranchers felt that their livelihood was threatened. They have $1 billion ranching business a year in Florida. Good for them. They should go ahead and compete with whatever new technology is emerging. I would say try a little role reversal. Imagine if, governments and states tried to ban the use of the tractor for fear of putting agricultural workers out of business, or, software companies that did accounting software got banned because it could put accountants out of business, or electric car production and use got banned because it could put traditional automotive manufacturers out of business. You could go down the list and you could create this position on nearly any new or emerging technology that feels threatening to an incumbent industry. And ultimately, it really only yields to regulatory capture and to a lack of choice and opportunity for new innovation and for consumers to make decisions about what they want. And the irony here is that so much of what's being consumed in the market space today, part of their rationalization is, oh, well, it's new technology. We don't know if it's good for you. We don't know if it's going to work. The truth is there are federal regulatory bodies that have oversight on this sort of thing. 20 years ago, almost all the cheese that we ate in the United States was made from rennet. Rennet is an enzyme that converts the protein in milk into cheese. We got rennet from the stomach of calves. We would scrape it out and sell rennet, and it would be used to make cheese. Then recombinant engineering, where we could get bacteria or yeast cells to make proteins. This technology unlocked the opportunity to make rennet more affordably. So rather than go and slaughter calves and get the rennet out of their stomach, we engineer the bacteria or the yeast cell to make the exact same protein. And that is now the entirety of the rennet industry is recombinantly produced rennet. And the entirety of cheese that we all consume is made using this genetically modified yeast that makes this enzyme that converts milk into cheese. The same is true across other industries. We used to use animal fat for laundry detergent. Turned out it was a lot cheaper to make enzymes using the same process I just described instead of making animal fat. And now all of our laundry detergent is recombinant enzymes. So I think this notion that we're going to ban this stuff is a regulatory capture incumbency moment. It's totally wrong. It denies consumers choice. And frankly, it flies in the face of what has historically been a real economic opportunity to bring costs down, to bring new innovation to market, and to try and stall out innovation is going to leave this state or this country in a real kind of challenge compared to other countries. I just think it's wrong. What will likely end up happening here is this will find its path to federal preemption. Historically, when we've seen states try to impose these sorts of bans, the companies that are ultimately affected, the innovators that are affected, go to the federal government and they try and legislate for a bill that says this stuff is legal and should be broadly available. That federal preemption then stops states' rights on having a ban in place. And so it's very likely that we'll end up seeing some legislation here over the next couple of years if this technology is ultimately beneficial. The problem is now that Florida's done this, I guarantee you're going to see Texas, which is a huge ranching state, and many other states step up to do it. It creates a really bad precedent for all other disruptive kind of industries to be blocked by their local economies that believe that they're under threat. And, it just creates like a lot of unnecessary chaos. This is the problem with plant breeding. Let's say that you have a bunch of genes in one plant that are disease resistant, a bunch of genes in the other plant that are drought resistant, and you want to try and get them together. Today, the way we do that in agriculture is we spend decades trying to do plant breeding, where we try and run all these different crosses, find the ones that have the good genes, find the other ones that have the good genes, and try and keep combining them. And it can take forever, and it may never happen that you can get all the good genes together in one plant to make it both disease resistant and drought resistant. So what we did is we came up with this theory that we could actually change the genetics of the parent plants. We would apply some proteins to the plants, and those proteins would switch off the reproductive circuits that cause the plants to split its genes. And as a result, the parent plants give 100% of their DNA to their offspring. So the offspring have double the DNA of either parent. You get all the genes from the mother, all the genes from the father. Now, here's what's most important. When you look under the ground and you harvest the potatoes, you can see that AB potato only had 33 grams. CD had 9 grams. So each parent had 33 and 9 grams potato. But the boosted offspring had 682 grams of potato. The yield gain was insane. And so you could see this being obviously hugely beneficial for humanity. Potatoes being the third largest source of calories, Indian potato farmers are growing 1 acre of potato. In India, they eat potato 2 meals a day. In Africa, potato is a food staple. So around the world, we've had a really tough time breeding potatoes and improving the yield. With our system, we've seen incredible yield gains in potato almost overnight.